Hi guys, it's another wonderful day. Nice meeting you guys once again. I'm here with Bright and Randall, GDE, Flutter GDE, and as we already know, this Flutter Sundays, and Bright is already geared up. Is ready, waiting for us to begin, and is going to continue from where he stopped. At the end, we should be able to develop the weather application. And I'm sure Bright is ready to take us through. And also Randall is here. If you have any question at all about Flutter, just feel free to reach out. But before that, let me just say hi to them all. So hi, Randall, hi, Bright. Thanks for joining, guys. It's another day, and it's awesome meeting you guys once again. So quickly, I will hand over to Bright to just take us through the 40 minutes of his talk on the development of the weather application as well, whilst he also tackles some few ups and downs in Flutter. Then at the end, you can ask your questions, or you can keep dropping your questions in the comment section whilst we tackle all for you at the end of the talk. Yeah, so guys, sit back and enjoy. All right, Eton, I'm over to you now.
All right. Good evening, everyone. So we'll continue from where we stopped the last time. So the other time we basically implemented our UI. So we have this is basically a weather app. It's going to display um, the current weather of our location, and also display the weather for the following day. So we'll be using Open Weather API for this. So currently this is what we have. This is how our UI looks like, and we'll start the API integration, and then um, we'll change the UI a little. Let's see. So we'll be using the Open Weather API for this. So we have the Open Weather API, and I want to use the daily forecast. So for a maximum of 16 days. So basically, there are different type of APIs, right? When you go back, this gives us just the current uh, weather for our location, then that's all. Just give us the current forecast for 4 days, and give us hourly intervals. So we want something just for today and tomorrow. So we'll go with this, and yeah, so basically, this is how the API looks like. You can choose to provide your city name, and the ENC is basically the number of days it will display. As you can see over here, the number of days which will be returned in the API response. So
is there a chance? Excuse me, you're a little quiet right now. Is there something you can do to boost your mic?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's difficult to understand you.
Oh, I was muted. Sorry.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So I think I have to go back to what I said. So basically,
I can go away now. I'll be back.
All right. So I said last week we implemented our UI, and this week we are looking at making our API call to get the current weather for our current location. So basically, we'll also be doing integrations for our location. So we'll get our current location, the latitude and longitude. Then we provide it to our endpoint. Then it will basically give us the weather in that location. And we're looking at getting the weather for the today and tomorrow. So that's basically like just 2 days. So we'll be using the Open Weather API. And as I said, when you go to openweathermap.org/API, you probably see different category of APIs, but I'll be using the daily forecast 16 days. So basically, you're looking. This returns the weather forecast for 16 days, between 1 to 16 days, but we need only 2 days, so we can state that in our API. So when you go to the API docs, you basically see how the API looks like, and I want to be using the city name. With this, you can provide a city name and or the city ID and other stuff. But basically, I want to use the geographical coordinates, so the latitude and longitude, to get our location, so our weather information. So I'll be using Firecamp to basically make API calls just to see how the data looks like. You can also use Postman, or even you can even try it from your terminal or your CMD to look at how the data looks like. But I'll be using Firecamp. And so basically, this is our API. And we are getting our daily, and we are providing it latitude and longitude. And also we are stating the unit in which it should return the data. Then we have the CNC, which is the number of days. So as I said, it has to be between 1 to 16. Then we have our API. So this is our API key. And so when I make call to it, so this is how our data basically looks like. Let me try and minimize this a little. So we have the city, the name, the coordinates, the country, the population in that area or city. We have the time zone. Then we have this COD. It's internal, I think, parameter or something they call it. Then we have a message. This one too. Then this CNT basically is the number of days. Then we have the list. So the list contains our actual weather information. So we have when it is sunrise, when it is sunset. Then we have the temperature itself, temperature during the day, the minimum temperature, the maximum in the night, in the evening, in the morning, and other stuff. The information here is a lot, but we'll be using I think a few of them. So to get your API key, you have to log in. I'm already logged in, so so you have to log in. So you have to create an account, then you log in. When you log in, I think it should be greeted with your profile or something like that. But basically, when you when you go to your profile, so when you go to your profile, you can basically just go to my API keys, and then you can basically see and create your API key. So, for example, let's see, this is let's call this weather. So basically, this is the name of the key. When I click on generate, as you can see here, it has generate a new key for us. So I can just basically copy it. So I can just copy this key, and then I'll go back to my Flutter project. And usually I like to structure my project in a way, but this is basically a very simple app. So I don't think there's really a need for me to separate the files. So I'll basically put everything here. But in normal sense, I usually create a folder called I think let me just create some of this folder. So I have a folder called model. So this basically is where I put all my models or all my classes. Then I have one called services. So services are basically any file or any function or any class that makes external API calls or or like even in internal API calls or internal data query. So I put this inside the services. Then I have my utils. So my utils are basically if I have let's say a formatting to do, or I have let's say I have to convert time into some particular format, and I know I'll be using that format in a lot of places in the app. I just put it inside my util, or I have to let's say state whether it is morning or like when you open some apps, it comes out maybe good morning, then they mention your name, good morning, Eternal, good morning. So with simple functions like that, I put them in my util. So my util is basically like utilities that I use. Then I have another one called the manager. So the manager basically is what communicates with the UI. So it connects the services and the UI. So after the services makes the API call and returns a response, the manager takes it, converts the response into an object, then present that object to the UI. Then the UI basically displays it. That's how I usually do my structure. But this app is really simple to have that structure. So I'll just have my services and my models. So let me just call this naming is really really hard. Name weather services and yeah. So yeah. So this brings me to classes. This brings me to now. This is what we're actually doing here now is that like we are writing actual Dart code. So I think we didn't go through that itself before moving to Flutter, but I'm hoping you guys will pick up some few Dart skills over like right here, since like writing using that basically for the logic and writing everything in that. So I mean, if you're coming from the Java background or the C++ or C sharp, yeah, you like this. This will look a lot familiar to you since they are all from the C family languages. So I'm going to basically state my API key here. As I said, I don't want to separate the files too much. So I'm just API. Right, then I'm going to have my endpoint. Let me quickly get this endpoint from here. Not this. Not this. So this. I'm just going to add the HTTPS. Here. No, this is CTID. Okay. So CT. Yeah, this is what I want. So we will have to provide our latitude, our longitude. So with this, since we already know the number of days we are supposed to return, I can provide this as static value. Then over here, we are going to have our API key. So I think okay. So let me first do this. Then I'll change it again. So this since we'll be adding some or is this is taking an argument or some parameters, right? So um, I'll change it into this format so that I can be able to provide it some argument. So uh, anywhere you see this sort of should I say declaration of a parameter, right? When there's a curly bracket inside the bracket of a parameter, it means that it is a named parameter. So in that, we have something called the named parameter and positional parameter. So when you go to that.dev, and you go to the docs, and you go to the language store, so you can basically take this. It's not like a course, but it's like documentation on that. So basic that how to like you learning that is very important for you to take this particular course. So when you go through this, I think you see some I don't know I've passed it or something parameters. Yeah. So over here, so we have positional parameters and then we have the named parameter. So yeah, so the named parameter. So basically, you can use both at the same time, basically, but this means that we this is an example of a named parameter. It means that you're actually going to call the parameter by name before providing the value. For instance, with this, we are saying that we need our API key and need our latitude also longitude. So basically, if I need to call this API anywhere, right? Let's say, let me just I'm calling this API here. When I type in, not really returning anything. Let me first. So when I call this method, right? Oh, what have I done? Okay. What is this like? This one was the method. Oh, okay. Sorry, let me bring this inside. Yeah. So let's say outside here, when I'm trying to call this method, so basically you have to call, since it's inside the class, I have to call the class, so I can call the um, uh, so let's say I'm now calling the endpoint method. So this method we have here, it's called endpoint. Yeah, I think I'll show what I'm trying to say later. I don't know why I'm getting all these weird errors. But basically, with the name parameter, you have to basically state the name. So as you can see, we have bold as boolean, then we have hidden also as boolean. So as they are calling the method, they have to state the bold by its name. That okay, bold is now true, hidden is true. The other version is the positional. So positional basically means that, for instance, over here, so it says string from the string message. This basically means that you need to remember the position of the from in the message. So if you have, let's say, if you decide to call this, right, so it isn't called here say. So this is from, so basically it's saying that it's from Bob and the message is howdy. But if you change, if you put howdy here and you put Bob over here, basically at the end of the day, it's saying that howdy says Bob. So with the positional, you have to position, you have to remember the position of the parameter. Otherwise, you basically will mix it. But with the name parameter, it doesn't really matter whether you are calling, for example, over here, it doesn't matter whether you are calling the hidden first before the bold, like it will still work since we are actually calling it by name. That's a quick differentiation between them. So I think I'll.
Hey, Tornam, I
Yeah.
don't mean to interrupt you too much here, but we're just noticing that the text size is really tiny for what you're trying to type, and unless you're on 1080p, you're not going to see it. Just go Command plus once. You can get rid of no, you don't have to do that. Just do Command plus. You can leave that alone. Yeah. Okay, fine.
I think it's
Actually, if you can go one more, I think it looks really like perfect, wonderful. Thanks. All right, I'll be back at the end.
all right, sure. Yeah. So now we have our method here, which takes our API key, latitude and longitude. So let me just replace the values over here. So now we are going to do something we call string interpolation. So what this means is, let me see if I can get it over here. So quickly, strings. Okay. Yeah, string interpolation. So what it basically means that you are inserting a value into a string. So a dynamic value into a string. So over here we are saying var s is equal to string interpolation, right? So inside this other string, we are now using, so in order to do that, you use the dollar sign, and if it is more than one word, you use dollar sign with curly bracket. So the curly bracket